Hello everyone, I'm back with another Dogged episode. I'm hoping that if everything goes to plan, this one can actually come out pretty shortly, maybe in a week or two, from the last Dogged episode, which is the Fern Farm one. Because from my perspective, it's only been a couple days, or like 2 days since I released the Fern Farm episode. So, anyway, today we're going to be doing a bunch of things. And right now we're starting off at a new project that was recently finished. It hasn't actually been used yet, so I'm hoping that it works. But this giant thing right here is essentially a map art maker. To dumb it down, I am going to give a little more in-depth explanation, although I'm not entirely sure on how it works. Roby designed this along with the help from some help from Nessie, I believe. But pretty much, you input a special code in these chests. It's based on items, and you basically program using these chests. You start the map art up, and these are decoders that basically take the items that you put into the chest, decode it into a special signal, and based on that signal, they activate these pistons over here, if I can just get a better view. Okay, so these pistons activate, which basically make it black on the map art. This is a blank version, so at the moment everything's white, which you might be confused as to how, because you can clearly see black strips here. But basically, sea lanterns on a map art are considered white, and this is a 2 times scaled map art, so it's 256 by 256. And in those map arts, every other block, every other block is considered a pixel, rather than just to make it less of a mess on the map. But essentially, yeah, these pistons act as black pixels, and they cause it to, become black. And you can only code black and white map arts on this, unfortunately. But this was really hard to build, and making it all 16 colors would be insanely hard. So we didn't do that. I hope I'm doing a good job of explaining sort of what we did here. I hope I'm not being too jumpy. If I am, please let me know. I'm definitely looking for improvements on how to make this series better, if that makes sense. Yeah, anyway. Roby gave me some more specifics, and I think I'll just briefly go over them. So it's binary coded. So every chest module is 4 bits, which is basically 4 pixels on the map. Oh, and I fell down again. Okay, and there are 32 chest rows, which amounts to 128 pixels. And like I said, on 256 by 256 maps, it is condensed to, I think, every other pixel or whatever, so that it's less of a issue to look at maps. So basically it's actually pretty smart. Again, Roby designed this. I'm not doing a very good job of explaining it, and if you have any more questions, I guess just ask him. But to start off this episode, we're actually going to be encoding a few different map arts that are needed across the server, starting with the Nether Hub map art. So I'm going to go get the program for that. Basically, Roby wrote a Python script that if you take a certain image, it converts it to the items. Basically, it tells you which items you have to put in the chests in order to make sure it programs. And also, mobs are spawning because we just had to restart the server, and I'm gonna have to go turn on the mob switch. I actually wanted to say a couple more things about this map art machine before we really get into the creation of the map arts. So, first of all, there is an issue with it, where on a server restart, there is a chance, you guys see the map is currently white, but there is a chance of it turning black because, well, I'm not really sure why. It's kind of random. Right now, we had to restart the server a couple times, which is why the mob switch is off. Roby had to restart the server a couple times because the map was reading this area as black rather than completely white, and if it's black, then it doesn't work properly. So it's really weird. It's random. We're not really sure why it happens. So yeah, we just have to restart the server a few times. Okay, now we can actually get into the coding of the map art. So I think in these top chests, yep, there's already a bunch of materials for the coding. It's based on wool colors, down here. And pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all these and code it with the help of Roby, and we're going to make sure that it works properly in survival. Well, I think it should, though, because we tested it on a survival copy, and it worked pretty fine. So hopefully there aren't any major issues with this, and I'm going to try to code a couple map arts today. Alright, so it's been a little bit since the last clip. It's actually been a few days, and I've been making progress on maps. I've been mostly streaming it. Alright, so it's been a little bit since the last clip, and I've been pretty busy. I've programmed 3 maps, and most of them are on stream. Because although it is easier to program the maps rather than build them in some cases, most cases really, it's still pretty cancerous to do, and it's a lot more interesting when you're on stream or when you're talking with people. So I haven't really made much progress unless it's on stream. Anyway, the first map I did was the Nether Hub map, because at the moment we label everything, or most things, most piss and bolt locations, with banners. As you can see, if we just look around, all the areas are labeled with banners. And for the Nether Hub, it is this thing that Red's made, which is supposed to be rails, but we don't really like this that much. So instead, Roby asked me to make a Nether Hub map art, and I did, and hopefully a picture of it is on screen right now. The reason I'm showing you a picture of it is because I goofed up, I did it incorrectly, and the map ended up getting deleted. So I have to reprogram it, which I'll probably be doing sometime in the near future, probably today or tomorrow. But that is unfortunate, and I've made 2 other maps. I honestly felt like I'd have more done, but they're really, really annoying to do. One of them is this, the Dugged Witch Farm project map, as you can see by the label. Yeah, it's just a witch hut, witch farm. You can probably tell where that is poking fun at, but yeah, I made that. And this one, which is the Dugged logo with the Star of David on it, which I made for myself and thought it would be funny to make a map art. Because honestly, the only really practical map art, the one that actually has use, is the Nether Hub one. After that, it's just memes. So yeah, I decided to make these 2, and although they're not super useful, this one especially, this one was a huge waste of time. It was not fun to do at all. It's still, you know, cool to have, I guess, in the future. Anyways, I'm sort of getting tired of maps, so after I fix the Nether Hub map art, I'm probably not going to be doing much in relation to them in the near future. However, we do have a couple of interesting preparations to do for future projects in this episode, which we'll get into right now. Okay, so we have arrived at the future general passive mob farm perimeter, and what we're going to be doing is just outlining it. But because that's really boring, I'm going to explain some of the details of this project, why we chose this area, and stuff like that. So yeah, obviously what's going to go here is a general passive mob farm, which means we're going to farm general passive mobs like cows, sheep, pigs, whatever else spawns in a swamp biome. But the reason it is a swamp biome is because horses are a little bit annoying to handle, and we don't want to use the traditional general mob farm for passive mobs that is design, which is basically just clocked water streams, right? That is extremely laggy on a large scale because water updates are not very nice. So we are currently looking into alternative designs, but because horses are pretty annoying to handle in said designs, we want to be able to farm passive mob farms efficiently without having to worry about them. So that's why we're in a swamp, because horses don't spawn in swamps, but all the other mobs do. Fun fact, chickens actually have a higher spawn rate in swamps than anywhere else, so we're going to be getting a lot of chicken from here. Anyway, this outline you see right here is 17 by 17 chunks, which is about the size of the passive mob spawning radius, which is actually 17.5 by 17.5 chunks. Now, the deco for this place, I don't want to show it yet because it's really awesome, but Joe designed some really cool looking decoration. And it's for a square-shaped perimeter, so while we don't get to make a really nice-looking shape, at least we'll have some very epic deco. Now, I'm going to mark out this perimeter in a 23 by 23 chunk area because that's the size of the rabbit farm perimeter, and they have similar decorations, so I just want there to be like parity between perimeters, if that's what you can call it. But anyway, I'm going to mark this out, and I will be right back. Alright, I am back after a couple days. No, it did not take a couple days to mark this out. but we were working on something that I'll show in just a second. By the way, the server is lagging quite a bit right now, but just don't mind this. This is just the MSBT, and it's getting hurt pretty hard right now, but it's all right. We can manage. All right, so I marked out 23 by 23 chunks, and you actually do need more than this for a passive perimeter. In fact, you'd need to get rid of all the spawnable spots for passive mobs within render distance to make sure that nothing is loaded, none of them can fill the mob cap. However, we're not going to be digging out the outside of this area. We're just going to be flattening it and removing all the grass like we did for Rabbit Farm. So yeah, it's not going to be part of the perimeter, but it is going to be flattened out, and it's going to prevent passive mobs from potentially being spawned and being loaded, which will affect the rates of the farm. So for the farm itself, we're going to be using a simple portal-based farm. Passive mobs are just going to spawn inside of a portal block and get teleported to the nether. And yes, I know portal spam bad, but in this case it really is the only good option that we have in terms of making a laggy, or actually lag-friendly passive mob farm. And we're going to be doing something special. We're going to be using TNT looting for the passive mob farm to get the most drops possible. So I think it'll turn out pretty cool, but it probably won't be completed for another couple months because it's a pretty extensive project and we're already working on quite a few at the moment. But I do want to show you guys something that we just accomplished, which I've actually been recording or doing on stream, and that is the piston bolt. The piston bolt has been completed to this place. Like I said, it was done on stream. I mainly streamed that. I'm not sure if anyone else did, but here it is. It's pretty nice. I really like the decoration, and yeah, I just thought I'd point that out. So for my plan of the episode, I initially wanted to work on marking out two perimeters, the passive mob farm perimeter as well as a new perimeter for a crafting area. However, I've decided that it's probably not the best idea to work on that at the moment because the members are still trying to decide what to do with our new crafting area, whether we should just rebuild our current one, which has a few problems, or just make a new area for it in general. So instead of that, I thought I would showcase some of the other projects that we've been working on. So you might be wondering where I am right now, and if you can probably see, there's 4 witch huts here. So this is our quad hut perimeter. We actually expanded the perimeter from a circle to a square shaped, and we're going to be adding some really nice deco. We also did sub-chunk filling, and yeah, it's going to look a lot better. The reason we're doing this is because we're adding a looting system for the quad huts with some really cool diagonal conveyors to make it super fast. And yeah, we already tested in creative. It's really nice. We get a lot of resources from it, and we decided to expand the perimeter because the looting system takes up a lot of space and we didn't want it to get too cramped. So yeah, we're just making this into a super lag friendly environment. It actually is pretty nice. The sub-chunk filling definitely helps out a lot, and expanding perimeter is also pretty good for the lag as well. And actually the next project I want to show is not too far from here. It's in Spawn. Let me just see if I can fly over here. Yep. Alright. So as you can see, there's a lot of bedrock missing here. This is Y0 bedrock. A couple months back, we renovated the entirety of Spawn, basically adding walls, making it a lot bigger, and removing all the bedrock down to Y1. But in our latest project, so we have 5 spawn perimeters, and this is an empty one. So we decided to fill this one up with a new general mob farm, super fast pre-damaging one, and it requires that you break Y0 bedrock. So we started working on that, breaking the Y0 bedrock for the farm, and because we also wanted to break the Y0 bedrock in Spawn, we decided to just break both perimeters. So yeah, as you can see, we started breaking out in the spawn, breaking Y0 bedrock in the spawn chunks, and we have a pretty cool plan for what we're going to do for the floor once all that bedrock is broken. I also showed the Endermelon farm in the last video, and I wanted to show you guys our progress on it now. So I hope I'm not spoiling anything, but yeah, it's pretty much finished. We built up the rest of the farm. All that's left is some cleanup and adding the storage system, which is designed and creative as far as I know, but we just haven't built it up yet. Oh, and mob switch is off, so I should probably head through the portal. And because I'm told people ask for it a lot, I'm also going to show our current crafting area. So this is the nether side, and on the nether side all we have is a 2x2 spruce tree farm. This is GPWs, and oh, the wither's pretty loud. Yeah, this is GPWs, but this is actually built in a really crappy location because it's in the nether, and all the wood that we need we need to have it in the overworld. So we have to transport it through another portal, but that also means we need 2 players to operate this farm because we need to load both dimensions, and that's really annoying. So that's why that's one of the problems that we have at the moment. Okay, so on the overworld side, we have a bunch of bulk storage for redstone components, which is the main thing that we craft here is redstone stuff. So pistons, comparators, repeaters, all that kind of stuff, as you can see. We also have some more stuff over here, some bulk storage for planks, logs, pretty much anything that we need to craft anything redstone related. As you can see, there's a selector panel for the things we can craft. There's also some shulker displays, which I'm not really sure what they're used for, but I'm sure there's a good use for them. And we have a cobble generator here. All in all, it's just it's jam-packed with a bunch of things for crafting stuff. It's a crafting area. But there are a couple issues with it. For one, I'm personally not a huge fan of the fact that there are pre-programmed recipes. I think it's cool, I think it's fine, but it'd be nice if we'd had access to more recipes. And the easiest way to do that is to just make it so that you can manually select which items there's like different modules, and you could select the items that you want to use to craft, and they just get dispensed for you. Let's say I wanted to input some sand, gravel, and dye, and then all that would be dispensed to me, and I could just craft concrete, and you can use this to craft anything. I think that would be a great addition or just replacement of the selector panel. Another really massive problem is that this thing acts as one giant permaloader. There's a lot of hoppers going around through here, a lot of things that chunk load, and when you unload this area, when you leave this area, these chunks stay loaded, and it acts as a permaloader, and it loads itself, and that means other areas get loaded because it acts as a permaloader. It just causes a lot of lag, pretty much, and it's really not fun. I think if you're the only person online, it's not that big of a deal, but when there's multiple people, yeah, it starts to really hurt the server's performance. This cobble generator is also not the best. I haven't used it that much, but the one time I tried to use it, it was broken, and I heard that it's not the fastest thing in the world, so it might be nice to replace it or just make a faster farm. Also, this whole area is built in a jungle, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but as soon as the passive mob switch is off and people come to this area and load, a bunch of passive mobs spawn, and that's not great. And also, I think they can chunk load. They also act as things that cause this area to permaload. All in all, it's not great. It's a nice crafting area, but there's quite a few issues with it, so I think it'd be nice if we could replace it. I just wanted to show it, to show you guys what we currently have and what we hope to improve. Alright, I think that's going to end off today's episode. If you have any constructive feedback, please let me know. I try to make this a little more interesting than last episode by working on more interesting projects rather than just a fern farm. If you enjoyed it, just, leave a like. And I'll see you guys in the next episode, which hopefully I can release soon. I've been trying to upload more frequently, and yeah, I hope I can get the next episode out sooner. Alright, see you guys. Bye-bye.